If you look at all the pros on the tour, you'll see that every single one of them is going to get off the ground when they serve. Why? According to a study done by Dr. Mark Kovac, the leg and hip kinetic chain is responsible for producing up to 51 to 55% of the total force that you're going to generate on your serve. And that means if you don't use your lower body correctly, you won't be able to maximize your power, and that might be why you feel tight and like no matter how hard you swing, you're not able to generate as much power as you think you should be getting. I need to redeem myself. Oh, that was good. What? Oh, okay. And secondly, getting off of the ground allows you to raise your contact height by even a few inches, and that decreases your margin for error, allowing you to have a more consistent serve, just like this. Oh, that was actually in. I thought that was going to go into the net. Now, the key to understanding how to get power from your leg drive is understanding that it doesn't come from jumping, and it doesn't come from even the back leg pushing the ground. These are both common terms that I was taught when I was growing up as a junior, and it wasn't until I saw Wawrinka's serve and that I started to question whether you actually needed to jump or to execute some other technique. Hint, hint, hint. Am I good at creating suspense? I don't know. And to understand this, you just need to look at a volleyball server. At the start of their serve, you'll see tons of hip flexion. What else will you see? As they drive through the ground, they'll also swing their arms up, and this helps them propel their body even higher off the ground. And this is gonna ultimately allow them to spike at crazier angles. And they'll only begin this throwing motion or their actual swing until they reach the apex of their jump. Compare that to a tennis serve. You'll see that pros will have minimal hip flexion, sometimes virtually no hip flexion in their load, and they'll begin their swing simultaneously with their leg drive. And this is huge because this hip extension motion is one of the most powerful movements that your body can perform, but it's purposely neglected or not used by the pros. I mean, if everybody was trying to get as high off the ground as possible, they'd be serving like Battistone. And in case you didn't know, he played volleyball before tennis. This is my Battistone impression, by the way. Oh, I should become a volleyball player. Volleyball, I don't know. Instead, they're gonna focus on properly coordinating the lower body with the upper body. That means beginning this leg extension motion with the start of the racket drop. And this is gonna allow them to transfer the force that they do generate as efficiently and effectively into the racket as possible. And this is one big theme that I want to emphasize throughout this Serve Power series. The transferring of power into your racket is more important than the total power that you actually generate. When you only focus on generating as much power as possible, it's like filling up a leaky bucket. The more you fill it, the more you spill it. Okay, that sounded way cooler in my head. So again, by driving through the ground and beginning your racket drive action simultaneously, you're able to transfer as much force into the racket at contact as possible, just like this. Woo, that felt crisp. Now, different pros are gonna get off the ground to different amounts. Compare Wawrinka to Federer. They're both about the same height. They're both top players and top servers in the world. But one server is regarded as one of the best in history, while the other is, I can't talk bad about Federer. I'm just kidding. At the end of Wawrinka's serve, in his trophy position, you'll see that he has very minimal hip flexion. And as he drives through the ground, it's gonna almost look like he's falling into the court as opposed to driving up and jumping. This is my Wawrinka serve impersonation. I nailed it, right? I was kidding. Now, if you look at Federer's serve, right before he explodes up to contact, you'll actually see that he has a slight amount of hip flexion. Now, it's a very small angle, but this range of motion gives him a powerful hip extension that allows him to get a few inches higher off the ground. Now, I'm willing to bet that when Federer is serving, he's not focusing on jumping as high as he can. If anything, he's driving through the ground in order to initiate his kinetic chain, and as a result, getting higher off the ground, if he's even thinking about that at all. So getting off the ground is going to be a byproduct of coordinating the leg drive and the racket drop action correctly. Now, along with getting your body up off the ground, the leg drive actually helps with a few other really powerful and transformative motions. First of all, when you press your legs, specifically the back leg, you're able to propel your hips to rotate in. So if right now you tend to not utilize your entire body on your serve, maybe your chest stays sideways and you push it with your arm, the key is all in loading and unloading your body. So as you load your entire body and you press the ground hard, you're able to naturally unlock the rest of your kinetic chain. Now, along with the actual body rotation, you also get what we call the power tilt action. This is where you have forward hip flexion primarily from the front leg, and that's gonna cause your body to tilt forward into the court. This forward tilting motion of your trunk is gonna help you generate what's commonly called in biomechanics angular momentum. This is the rotational force of your racket that goes up into contact and creates that big snap. And you'll notice a huge difference here. If I keep my body straight up and I try, even if I serve as hard as I can, oh my God, that feels so bad, even though it went in. Maybe I should do that from now on. Versus, watch if I exaggerate this power tilt motion and actually run forward to the net. Power just comes so much more effortlessly. So on that note, I'm feeling on now, so let's get into some drills. All right, athletes, the first thing we're gonna work on is the launch progressions. Here's how it's gonna work. You're actually just gonna get into your stance first and serve without getting off the ground at all. So you're here, really softly, don't even launch. And as you finish, you wanna get your back heel up off the ground. So your toe, your back toe should be the only thing touching the ground by the time you finish your serve. Just like that. And this is gonna encourage you to get your hips to rotate, because when you rotate your hips, you'll see that naturally your back heel will come off the ground. So what you don't wanna do here is stay flat-footed on both feet and just use your arm like that. Use your entire body here, rotate and get that back heel up. And from here, once you're comfortable with that, we're gonna simply step the back leg through, just like that, and it's gonna signify getting more hip rotation. So I'm here in my stance, and after I hit the ball, I'm gonna step my leg through. You don't wanna over-rotate here, so what you can end up doing is tossing and getting your foot around in this over-rotated position. You wanna stay closed, you wanna actually keep that back leg on the ground until after you hit, like so. So once you get comfortable with that, you're gonna start launching just slightly so that you get a few inches, maybe one credit card height off the ground. I know for some of you guys, that's all you can do. Dude, what's wrong with me? Dislike, unsubscribe, oh my God. Okay, so here's how that's gonna look. I'm launching ever so slightly here, soft launch, just like that. Then slowly, you can start getting a deeper knee bend and pressing against the ground harder so you could accelerate right into the net. So soft knee bend here, launching up. And next up, in order to work on the forward power transfer, this forward tilting of your trunk, one of the best things you can do is actually practice running through your serve. So I'm gonna do a little bit of serve and volley footwork here. As I hit, I'm gonna run forward through my serve. Running through my serve. You thought I was going down the tee and was getting, and I guess I'm not curious. And last up, there is no launch without the landing. Your body isn't gonna feel safe enough to actually go high if you don't know how to land softly and injury-free. So there's a very simple drill you can do here. Simply get on one leg, get your back leg behind your body. So if you're a righty, you're gonna get onto your left leg and get your right leg bent behind you. And from here, you're gonna slowly go from that one leg position to two legs, and we're working on getting to the split step. So you're gonna go one leg, bounce, and two leg split. One leg bounce and split. Same thing on your serve, you're here, one leg bounce, split. Now with the ball here, load, unload, one leg bounce, and split. All right, athletes, I'm feeling it right now. So we're gonna play some points out with Day Day. Day Day, I am coming for you.